Welcome back, everyone. It's Office Chats. Am I getting a ring? Do you hear a echo?
A little bit.
All right, you go ahead.
Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. Corner Office Chats. We are back. I hope you guys had a great week so far. And today we're going to dive into a great topic, and that is getting out of your comfort zone. And what is our comfort zone? It's all those areas of our life that we feel like we have control, we feel safe in, we feel comfortable, right? There's no surprises. We're able to control things. We're able to feel like we can predict certain outcomes, and it just feels good. It feels warm. It feels cozy. And this is
so good.
Yeah, it does feel good, and it's okay to be in your comfort zone sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you do need that.
In my bed. Cozy in my pillow.
If you're going through a really hard season and there's really like extenuating circumstances and really big things happening, sometimes you need to have that comfort zone that you can go back to recharge, to feel good before you take something new on. Mm-hmm. But if you're wanting to grow, if you're wanting to do things that you've never done before, you want to start that business, you want to start that new relationship, you want to apply for that promotion, you want to take up something, you wish you were a runner. I don't know what it is for you, but you want to do something you've never done before. Well, then you need to do things that you've never done before. And this is where we get stopped. We want to do those things, but we don't want to do what it takes to get there. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk to you. How do you get out of that comfort zone so that you can start seeing that growth? You can start to, recognize the opportunities and possibilities around you, and then take action when they're right in front of you.
Right. So let's talk about distinguishing between your comfort zone and your growth zone. Right. So think about a circle, and we posted this in the group, in the goal set group. Everything that you already have, the kids, your house, your home, everything that you already have, your job, the friends, everything that you're doing day in, day out is a routine. All of that you already have, that's in your comfort zone, right? Now think about all the things that you want, and it doesn't necessarily have to be materialistic things. So like even in your comfort zone, you know how to drive, you know how to speak, you know how to pick up a phone, you know how to, how to do the things. Now, where you want to look at is what is it that you want to get to? So that's outside of your comfort zone. And that could be, I don't know, let me think about it. Getting on social media more, like we are, getting on social media more. Maybe it's, I want to learn a new language. Maybe it's, I want to travel somewhere new, or maybe I need a new job, or maybe I want to take on a project or start a business, a side hustle, right? That's going to be outside of your comfort zone. So I want you to think about what are those things and start listing them out. And that's really, really important that you start doing that, because when that gives you when we talk about vision boards, people talk about vision boards. Why are they creating that vision board? That's what they want to grow into. That's where they want to see themselves at. So if you're seeing yourself with that vision board, that's what you have, whatever those goals or those dreams or whatever it is that you've conquered, then you start to look backwards of, how do I get there? This is where I am now. Now, how do I get there? Now, this is where it gets really interesting, folks, because if you looked at the graphic that we put in the group, before you can get there, there's a fear zone that you have to cross. There's a learning zone that you have to cross. So let's put some things into play, Alexis. Let's talk about maybe just five things that you can start doing to help you get through the fear zone, into the learning zone, and making your way into that growth zone.
Yeah, I think that fear zone is, it's in that graphic that we posted, it's a little bit smaller, but I think it's actually should be a larger representation, because I think a lot of us, we want to do something different. We want to make the change. We take one toe out of the comfort zone and we're like, whoop, it's scary. And we retreat, right? and we find the excuse, we find the distraction, we tell ourselves, nope, didn't like the way that felt, the first
Yeah,
time.
that
So
was
we
scary.
yeah, that person said something. I only got 2 likes on that live. So obviously that means I did a terrible job and I should never do it again. Right?
Yeah.
Our brains, they want to keep
Are you
us in
talking about me?
and myself.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it. The people who are putting themselves out there, what they're really making themselves vulnerable. How
Yeah.
many likes you're getting, how many comments are you getting? And I'm not a liker. I may be a commenter every now and then, but I don't do a whole lot of liking. But now that you and I, Alexis, we're being out there more in the social media, I'm being very more conscious and aware of liking things to encourage people, right?
Yes.
I see that now that encourages them. If I want to receive that encouragement, I'm going to give that encouragement to others as well. So you go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah. And so that fear zone, I think, is most people don't get past that. And they stay there and they stay scared about what the change might be. And the thing is that, you've heard those things about whether it's in sales, you need 16 touches, or a child needs to have 16 interactions with a new food before they like it. It's the same, right? Our brains, the way that our brains are wired, our brains have not evolved as quickly as the rest of the world around us. So in the very center of your brain is that reptilian brain, the brain stem, and that was like from the caveman days when real threats and real dangers were in our environment all the time. So we had to be on high alert, right? That was perfect back then because it kept us alive. If your brain didn't do that, you were the saber-toothed tiger's lunch. So that served a purpose. Obviously the brain has evolved, but not to the point. You're still driven by that reptilian brain. So it wants to keep you safe. So any dangers that come around your area, you're going to notice that. So you might have gotten 25 likes and 50 love this post comment. And that one jerk, that one troll out there who doesn't feel good about themselves made a crappy comment, and that's the only thing you think about. Not the 50 comments of people who are like, this was amazing, I love to hear this. That one person, right? Because our brains are designed to latch onto the negative to keep us safe. Now, in a situation, you're in a dark alley, yes, we want all those things to be, our brains to light up, to be on high alert, to keep us safe. But the other things that keep us safe, like that fear of judgment or that lack of self-confidence or, being affected by what other people think about us, that's not relevant anymore to us if we are on that path of growth. So how do you move through this fear zone? One thing that you can do is make small changes to your routine. Okay, start off small, right? I'm not going to ask you to jump from 1 to 1,000 in one day, but you might start off really small. And if we're sticking with this, like this example about maybe you're a business owner or maybe you are trying to build a community online, going live is really challenging. It's really hard. Even though Maureen and I, we've been doing it a lot lately, we've gotten better, we've gotten more comfortable, but it's still hard. So when I made, in the very beginning of quarantine, I said, okay, I want to start going live more. I started with Instagram stories because they disappear after 24 hours and nobody sees them again. So if they're terrible, so I'm only living in fear for 24 hours and then they're gone, right? So what's one small change that you can start implementing, one small thing you can do to change that routine a little bit? And again, it might feel a little bit scary, but it's only a little bit scary, right? And then you make that change a little bit bigger, right? Now maybe you post a video on your feed that's going to live forever until you take it down, right? So you're slowly making these changes and getting used to that feeling in the fear zone. I'm going to add a bit of this is what you feel inside when you take that first step, right? Maybe it's that fear of judgment. Maybe it's that fear of rejection or failure. You're going to feel a physical feeling. So when you're making those changes, you might feel that feeling of your heart rate racing, or your sweaty palms, or feeling like you're going to whoop, Instead of saying, this is telling me to stop because I could fail, tell yourself that feeling is excitement. Mm-hmm. That feeling is that feeling just before pride. Right? It's that feeling of the excitement of doing something new that you're going to be proud of for yourself after. You just haven't done it, so you haven't gotten to that pride feeling. So reevaluate and reassess what that feeling means to you when you're in that fear zone.
Yeah, no, this is really great, because if you're not in tuned with what's happening and your thoughts, then you don't have a way of trying to change that. And sometimes it's having a friend or a mentor or a coach or someone that can help you along. If you're one of those that you can take yourself out of the game very, very quickly, then you may want to put a structure in place so that somebody who with an objective view can come in and like get you right back in there. And that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about. So Alexis talked about making a change to your routine. Another one would be, make sure that you have a trusted peer or a friend that you can go to and ask those questions, like, what is it that's a positive about me? Or what is it that inspires you about me? Or could you go and take a look at my video and make a heart, and give me some constructive criticism? When you start to tune in to accepting those and putting yourself out there, then make sure you're putting structures in place that also support you in that, having the community around you that supports you in that. It's really, really important, because you'll be surprised what other people will see, and it'll actually boost your confidence even further, right? And be very, very mindful of who you're asking. You want to make sure that if they are giving you that negative feedback, maybe they're saying this was good, but you need to do that. Notice how your thoughts start to happen. Like you start having shame, guilt, blame. Well, if that starts to show up, then remember that you asked for that feedback, right? You asked for that feedback so that you can do better. And again, how many people are really going to watch it? Like if you do a story, 24 hours, it's gone. Nobody's going to see it again, right? So use this as your practicing ground. When Alexis and I first started, we weren't the best at getting in front of social. Like, what are we going to talk about? Did anybody watch it? So, and it still sometimes shows up. Like, do we know what topic we want to do? I don't really feel like getting on camera today. Like all those things start to happen. But then we have to step out of our zone so we can show up for you, because that's what you're looking for. That's why you're in this group. That's why you're in this community. That's why you're listening to us. So it's really important that you surround yourself with that community that will support you. Okay.
Yeah, and having that support around you can help get you through that fear zone, because you're not feeling like you're going in alone, and get you into that learning zone, which is the next kind of circle around that you want to get through before you get to that growth and you experience that individual personal growth. So in that learning zone is literally, as it sounds, make it a task, make it a mission to learn something new, to acquire a new skill. And this could be, it does not have to be in relation to, if you're here for, say, leadership skills, you're looking, you're leading a team and you're looking at, it doesn't have to be related to your career. It could be learning any new skill, learning a new language, learning how to rollerblade, learning how to create a website on Wix. Like, it could be absolutely anything. It doesn't actually matter what it is. Acquiring a new skill rewires and creates new neural circuits in your brain, right? That get that leg up. And every incremental success or win that you have, you're like, now I know something I didn't know an hour ago. I'm now better equipped to handle this situation if it comes up again in the future. Or I've learned to rollerblade, so now I hate going to the gym, or I hate running on my treadmill. I now have another thing I can do to get my exercise in that's more enjoyable. Right? Mm-hmm. And you just have that sense of accomplishment. And when you've accomplished something, share it with people, right?
Yeah, celebrate it.
I love seeing on social media when someone's like, this is simply a post to brag on myself and tell you that I just learned a new language, or I just learned how to rollerblade. And then you see all the, their friends' comments, way to go, girl, amazing. And you're just like, yep. That is important. It's not people just, and maybe they are doing it because they are looking for that reinforcement, and that's okay. The point is you're sharing it, and that post alone is you recognizing, having the courage to recognize that you've just learned something new, and you've moved yourself out of your comfort zone through the fear zone into that learning zone. And you're so much closer to that growth zone. So in the learning zone, right? let's say you want to create a better, more a deeper connection with your partner or with a really close friend or family member, and there's something you have to have a conversation about, because without clearing the air on something, you're not going to be able to move forward. You know
That's
it,
right.
they know it, but neither of one of you want to have the conversation. So to deal with a challenge or a problem, even if it's messy, even if it gets worse before it gets better, that is part of the learning. And if you go into it as, I need to have this tough conversation with my partner, with my, my staff member, whoever it is. I need to have this conversation, but the point of this conversation is to get us to a better place because of it. It might be ugly, we're working through it, but we're going to get to a more beautiful side on the other end. So going into it and tackling that problem, having that conversation, you're also going to be aware of learning. Okay, what did I say that really ticked them off, that led the conversation down an uglier hole? What did I say that when I said it, I noticed their posture change. I noticed their energy shift to the positive, right? That is learning. Now you're learning, and you may be married to your husband or your wife for 20 years, and you really never went into a conversation. You went in it to win it, right? You went in to prove you were right and to prove that they were wrong. Yeah. But now you're like, I want to learn how to argue, right? How do they argue? How do I argue? I know all the things that I need to say to my husband in order to shift the conversation. And sometimes I intentionally don't because I'm in a bad mood. So, right, I don't get it all the time, right? But I know, right? I know that he is words of affirmation. Like, I know that if I just say to him, I really appreciate your help, or simply give him a compliment, that it will shift the energy in our conversation. I know that. I don't always do it, but I know that. So I'm learning. And so when I think about it, and I think, well, we're having the same conversation for the 10th time this month. Okay. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Okay, what am I learning and how can I shift it? Now we're moving into that growth zone where more things are possible, that deeper connection, right? That the more intimacy, more your ability to learn something new that's going to open up a new door, a new opportunity in your career or in your personal life or in your health journey. Right? Now you've moved into that growth zone, which is where you want to be. It doesn't always feel good at the time, but when you get to the other side of it is when, you have that big victory. You've got those little wins along the way. You've won a bunch of battles, but now you're winning the war when you are in that growth zone.
Yes. I'd like to suggest a book, and Alexa suggested this one to me, and it was phenomenal. So if you really want to get into that growth zone and you want to take on, really expanding yourself, you're like, you know what? One thing to understand is that if you continue doing the things the way that you're doing, you will stay exactly where you are. So that could be a week, a month, a year, maybe several years, and you're still in the exact place because you didn't change anything. So the book that I would really highly recommend, and I know Alexis is a big fan for it too, and she's talked about it before, is The Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yep.
Right?
This was totally unscripted. I was just on my bookshelf right here.
It's in my audiobook, but you get the idea.
I like to hold them. No, it is a great book, and it offers really specific things that you can do. So if you're that person that likes those tangible, okay, tell me exactly what to do, this book does that. It absolutely gives you like a step-by-step instruction. It's awesome.
I think you should do a whole book review on that one.
Yes, I love it. I've read it I want to say 3 times already, and I only got it maybe earlier last year.
Yeah.
Beginning of the pandemic.
You told me about it. I listened to it, and then maybe a month later, my husband was like, "You need to read Atomic Habits." I was like, "It's in our audiobook. That's why you know about it." But he had also heard it from somebody. So it's funny, once you'll start to notice is when you're focused on something, people around you will start to get exposure to it as well. So really great book. If you're looking to start a new book, or find him on YouTube, James Clear on YouTube. You can actually get I think he's done some TED Talks, I think I've seen. Yeah, he's done some TED Talks. You can catch, if you're not a book reader and you like to listen to things, he may even have a podcast. I haven't looked at that, but that's another thing I was going to say. Podcast. If you want to learn something new, a lot of the elite, affluent people that are out there, they are doing podcasts. They're listening to podcasts. They're doing podcasts. They're always looking to learn and grow in areas. So if you find a podcast, we are starting up ours. We had it going, but we kind of put it on a pause for a little bit while we were building the other brand of our business. But it's coming back. It's going to come back really soon. We're going to put all our corner office chats in there as well. It's called the Unleashed Leader. So if you're not following us on podcasts, do that and find us. It's called the Unleashed Leader. And Alexis and I will be coming and talking. We'll put our corner office chats in there, and we're talking about what it takes to really get yourself out of that comfort zone and into that learning and growth zone, beyond your stepping beyond your fears, so that you're really showing up as a leader in your life, your business, your relationships. You're really taking leadership in your life. That's what we're talking about when we talk about leadership. It's not only like leading teams, but it's leading your life. Maybe you could call it taking back control, So, but really important, if you are looking to grow, find those podcasts that you like to listen to. And if you like what you hear from us, then join our podcast, The Unleashed Leader. Okay, Alexis, thank you so much. We've talked about, making changes, getting out of your comfort zone, getting into that growth zone by making changes to your routine, making sure you have a mentor, or you start delegating things to other people so you can take on new things, facing the fear, whatever that fear is, really facing it. And then asking your trusted peers, right? Your trusted peers, mentor, coach, whoever it is that you have that can give you that objective view. I always say it's better to have something that's really someone outside of your life that you kind of bring in to focus on something specific, because they can give you something a lot more objective, and there's no hidden agenda behind it, right? There's no other underlying thing there. So the last thing we talked about was learning something new. And it could be reading a book. It could be trying something new. It could be, subscribing to a podcast, our podcast, The Unleashed Leader. Put that plug in. Or
I just want to add one thing that just popped up as you were closing it out. I know, but just really quickly, I just got off our client coaching call this afternoon, and it came up, and we were talking about productivity, but it reminded me of this, and that the comfort zone isn't just one thing or one area. It's something that you're going to, when you go through, this is like a cycle that you're going to grow through, because what gets you initial success is not enough to get you to that next level. And then once you're here, what you've been doing to get you here is not enough to get you here. So you are constantly going in and out of your comfort zone in order to grow. So keeping that in mind, it's not just like when you're like, perfect, I'm out of my comfort zone, I learned something new. Well, in a month from now, and a few months from now,
it's not new anymore.
You're back in the zone. You're back in the comfort zone. So it's just something to always have on your radar. When are you feeling a little comfortable, a little safe, and where can you start to expand yourself? Have those conversations, change the routine, do what you got to do to get to that next level. Enjoy it for a bit, but understand that next level of growth is going to become a comfort zone, and you're going to repeat the cycle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Comment below and let us know, what is that next step you're going to do to step over that fear and go into that learning, and then eventually into that growth zone. What is it that you want, and what steps are you going to take? We want to know. Put it in the comments. We'd love to support you. If you want to have a conversation about it, like where you're stuck, then you can always do that. You can find us at the DMs in Facebook, in the DMs. And I'll also drop a link to our calendar link. Just, even a 15-minute connect call, just so that we know who you are, that you're in a group, we're in touch with us. You're in touch with us. We like to know who our audience is and what they're looking for. What are they struggling with? What did they like about the content that we did, and what would they like to see more? So, all right. So that concludes our corner office chats for today. Thank you, Alexis, for coming on and having this really fruitful conversation around growth. I really loved it. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your week. It's Thursday. I don't know why I keep thinking it's Friday, but it's Thursday. So we still have one more day, and we made it to the weekend, guys. So enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you back here next week, same time, same place.